Here we are, another Friday morning live. Hope everybody's doing well. We have a beautiful sunny day. The warmth is upon us again. In the realm of MFS, we like to focus on the field state versus the heavy, dense matter state. From the little we know, from the realms we come from, the field state, the consciousness state, where there's no physical matter, no heavy, dense physical matter. That's where the physical, heavy, dense matter comes from. All heavy, dense physical matter comes from that state. All is controlled from the field state. All is controlled from the souls. All is controlled from the divine creator. If we put all our focus in the heavy, dense matter state, yes, we are here in the heavy, dense matter state where, we touch, feel, smell, taste, listen, hear, see. We are going to be stuck in this heavy, dense matter state. One day we will have to leave the physicality. It's just a matter of fact. Now there's the ones talking about immortality. Yes, immortality. Immortality, of course it exists. The consciousness lives on beyond the physicality, that the consciousness is immortal. Unless we are living in opposition of divine order, divine law, natural law, we will, upon leaving the physicality, the soul gets scattered to oblivion, is from my understanding, until there's balance is reachieved, which may take, a few eternities, depending, what has taken place. The laws of cause and effect. We cannot escape the laws of cause and effect. They run true and they run infinite. They run true and they run infinite. So we have to pay attention to what we say, what we do, what we act upon, and everything we do in this wonderful, beautiful life with so much evil that has taken over. So the field state is where the control mechanism is for this physicality. The control mechanism. Through soul from source. This is how we become what we are in this state. When we're in an eating state, all the focus is on physicality. We have been taught that without food we'll die in 30 days. Without water we'll die in 3 days. Those were the old sayings, but we know those are far from true, but they can have some truth, because what actually happens when we stop eating? The body goes into an elimination mode. And in that elimination mode, depending what we have built up, physically, mentally, emotionally, if we're, impacted with many chemical synthetics and so on and so forth, the body is going to be overwhelmed, and we start drowning in our own filth, and that's what seizes the physical life to exist. It's the overwhelming poisoning that ends the physical life, not the starvation mode as most people would want to believe. Starvation, nourishment, we can be nourished by limitless forms of energy, because everything is energy. Everything is energy. Our physicality is a form of energy, and it continues to breathe, move, function, continuously, even though we're not eating continuously. It's not like an automobile with an internal combustion engine where it needs continual fuel, physical fuel to burn, to operate. This is not internal combustion engine, as many people believe it is. And that's where the high fat theories come from, that we need slow burning fuel so we can have extended energy. If you feed the body heavy dense physical food, it's going to have no choice but to work with it. We have the choice of what to do, right? But when we eat physical foods, the body has to do the work. It has no choice. If we've eaten it, it's got to deal with it. So depending on what we eat, the body has to deal with it continuously. If we're eating those necessary 3 meals a day, as has been taught. The field state is a wonderful place to be and to experience. And the few that have experienced the field state would really have shared their experiences over the last decade, and it's all wonderful, and it's all very, very similar. We all have very, very similar experiences in this wonderful field state that we experience, and that's where everything happens, in the dry state. The dry state is the true fasting state, as we keep singing the same song over and over. It all happens in the dry state. When we are in that dry state, that's where all the magic, I like to say, the magic happens. It's in that dry state. Even if we don't see it actually happen in that state, we're going in and out of that state as a lifestyle. So we're always, going through that state, dipping in, coming out, dipping in, coming out, dipping in, coming out. This is the way the Master Fast lifestyle, less is more, is lived through the art of subtraction. We want purging to happen on a pretty much continual basis. If we're loading up addition, always, there's no subtraction happening. And if there's no subtraction happening, then we're going to be plugging ourselves up. And the average man, woman, depending on the size, carry 2 to 5 gallons of excess physical volume of caca, as we call it. That's the stuff we want to purge out, and when we purge that out, we see the magic really taking place. And the dry states, we squeeze and wash, squeeze and wash, squeeze and wash, squeeze and wash. The herbs are doing their first and foremost emotional work to keep the energy flowing, and especially they focus on the stagnant areas. So we work with the physical, we work with the mental, and we work with the emotional simultaneously. We can't work on only one. If we're eating, we believe we're working only on the physical. No, where there's an emotion attached to it, there's mental things happening, and we can't work with only one. They all are happening simultaneously, and we want to keep the focus on purging. Art of subtraction, as we keep saying. The art of subtraction will allow us to go to places where very few people go. The art of subtraction will move us in the direction of balance. Balance. Balance is something we are continuously moving towards. It's not a place that we find and rest. It's a continual lifestyle choice that we continuously have to keep our balance. It's just like, walking, sitting up. There has to be a balance there, and it's continual. There's muscles working harmoniously, continuously, to keep us upright, sitting or standing. And when something is off, we have obstruction in the shoulder. There's or in the hip, or in the knee, or in the ankle. There's a challenge to keep the balance because of the pain. So we want to work on moving energy in those stagnant areas so the flow will start again. And once the flow starts again, the healing takes place. Without opening up that stagnation, there's no healing happening. People are popping, pills and this and that, and it's just the body's forced to work with that stuff. So there's a change and a feeling of change, but there's not a solution to the problem of the stagnations in the physical, mental, emotional. As far as I'm concerned, there's none of that. So, taking herbs, you're eating and you're taking herbs. Okay. The herbs are going to go in and do what they can, but they're recognizing you're eating, and they can only do so much work. They can only connect so much with their spirit. They are masters of the field state. And that's what we discovered 10 plus years ago, over a decade ago, that the herbs are masters of the field state. And that's how master fasting came to be. You use herbs, and you get the biggest bang for your buck in the field state. Yes, herbs will help us while we're eating, but you're not going to see that magic happen unless you're in the field state. So we want to continuously be in the field state, and that's why we have the Master Fast system levels. Level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Level 1 is really not even a level. It's for somebody who is maybe very obstructed or very closed-minded to start on 1 day a week. Nothing really happens on 1 day a week. It's only a stepping stone to move to level 2. That's all level 1 is for. Level 2, then we start seeing a little bit more happening. And 2 days a week of 1 day dry, 1 day liquid. I would go into 1 day liquid, then 1 day dry, and then come out of it, of course, on liquids for the most part of the next day, and basically be on the Master Fast hybrid. Just have your meal at the end of the day. So you extend your liquid from when you started dry, liquid. And that's a wonderful way to start level 2. And level 3 is really where you're going to start seeing more and more magic happen. You got 1 day dry, 1 day liquid, 1 day dry, 1 day liquid, and then you break your fast on the 4th day. So you have 3 days of no physical eating. And then you have level 4, right? 4 days. Level 5, 5 days. Level 6, 6 days. And then the level 7, which is the infamous, is how Master Fast systems spread out all over the world because of the magic we have experienced and seen rather very quickly. Within several weeks or a few months, we see amazing things happen. But if we ain't continuously living and loving it, then we're going to see not so pretty things happening, because the body has memory, and people go back to their old ways. It's not positive thing to do, even though that's what many people, maybe most people, will do, because that's what they want to experience. Otherwise they wouldn't be doing it, right? We wouldn't be doing it if we didn't want to experience it, if the soul didn't want to experience it. Through our stubbornness, we want to go back into that pain, misery, and suffering state. Subconsciously, deep subconscious, there's something in our life that's keeping us from being in that beautiful, blissful state 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Master Fasting state is a blissful state. For the most part, when people are going through the severe healing reactions, it's not pleasant, but those are the times we jump for joy, because we know that as we come out of that state of healing reactions, we know that the body's going to be stronger and we're going to feel better. And that's what the outcome is. Unless it's time to part with the physicality. If it's time to part, we will part. And it's a wonderful way to go as well, is if we've put ourselves in a situation where we are so obstructed and so butchered up by all the synthetics and so on and so forth, and surgeries and things. It's time for us to leave the physicality and move on back to where we came from. And we can embrace that as well. But master fasting is simple lifestyle. Many of us make it very, very complex, and it's not complex. It is very simple. And tomorrow's no, not tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's Sunday. Sunday is June 1st. We have 31 days in May. June 1st is our season change month. We're moving into summer after a beautiful wet spring up in the northern hemisphere here. In the southern hemisphere, they're moving into the nice cold winters. And embrace the season changes with the dry fasting resets. There's some people who like to do 9 days a month, which includes your 3 days dry, and the other days are liquid. And that suits people very, very well. But the world of the internet has become interesting, to say the least, with all this artificial AI and everything coming. Everything was, the plastic world before, and now it's even more fake than it was. There's we can't trust anything out there. Any videos and stuff are all created by AI now, and it's only going to get worse from here. AI will completely take over in the near future, I believe. There won't be much of any reality anymore. Sad. Especially us that we've grown up playing in the dirt, no cell phones, no internet. And we're slowly, completely detaching from the realism of the matter state world and going into not the field state, but into the fiction state. And that's where I believe humanity will pay a hefty price. Will AI turn on us? It already has done so in small aspects from what I'm reading out there. It already has. So just imagine when that's what is going to completely take over. The AI will make all the decisions for everything. And the spirit world will become more and more distance for more and more people. instead of us reconnecting with our divine creator and following the divine laws and rules and natural laws, we will be living in a world of fiction where everything will be controlled through the fiction world, through synthetics and through programming and simulations and what else? What are the word they use? It's interesting times. Interesting times. I say to people, never let go of the spirit for once, that's for sure, but never let go of the realism of this world. You know, let's not allow the artificial world take over our lives, because we will pay a hefty price, I believe, if that actually happens. And it looks like it's coming. You know, we're moving in that direction. So let's be wise, prudent in everything we do. Live it, love it. The art of subtraction is available for everyone to continuously reset and show us, reveal to us the ultimate reality of the field state. Because this physical reality is temporary. And we shall part with it. Unless you want to be in that Luciferianism state where your consciousness continuously lives on and you can't escape. And you can't escape this realm. That's what they're talking about. That's their plan. So you're trapped. Your soul is trapped. Your consciousness is trapped. And you will have eternal physical life. Imagine that. You can't go back home to the wonderful, limitless realms of where we came from. And with that said, I will leave it with that. I would suggest, level 3, 4 for most people is a move. Start on whatever level you want, 1 or 2, and get into the level 3 and 4. That's where you're gonna feel your best. It's just a game with the mind. It's a game with the mind of, what do we want to feel? What do we want to experience? Do we want to be heavy, dense, pain, misery? Or do we want to be light, free, joyful, limitless energy? It's whatever we want, it's available. And we'll send plaf to all those in dire needs out there. We pray that we avoid a world catastrophe war. It's we got a lot of warmongers out there leading the people. A lot of warmongers. And let's pierce their hearts with plath, so that we may penetrate and they can see what they're doing is not right, is not correct. It's not in line with peace, balance, correct conduct. Okay. Ciao. We will see you back on the page, Facebook group, and we'll see you in the next live call, Wednesday, Facebook Live. Ciao for now.